Hi, I'm Stiti, and this is Girl Up GMA. Welcome to our monthly Sheroes podcast, where we interview some amazing women that have outstanding achievements in their respective fields. Today we have with us Miss Chanda, who's a social entrepreneur and the founder of LiZZOM, a UAE-based company that sells chemical-free and plastic-free sanitary napkins. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ms. Chanda. What an absolute honor it is to have you.
Thank you so much, Shruti. Stuti, right? Sorry.
No worries.
Yes. I'm amazed by your name as well. Um, mm, Firstly, I want to congratulate you girls for starting this. I call it a movement. I don't know whether you call it a movement or you call it an Instagram handle or you call it a group. For me, it's a movement, what you have started. Exactly the same way, which I respect and trust on LiZZOM. I believe that this is something similar for you girls. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much. So, the first question that I have been dying to ask you is how can we encourage normalizing talking about periods, not only with young girls, but especially with young boys? Because I feel like there's so much confusion, so much misinformation. How can we start that talk?
I think everything starts from the basic. It needs to be embedded in the education system, which we all have recognized, and slowly, gradually, it's picking up, and more schools and education are involving sex education, menstrual education into their system. And yes, of course, media and community also are important. For instance, let's crack the basics, such as what is menstrual cycle? How does it impact women? How does their day look like? What do they feel throughout the day? What are their, I wouldn't call it challenge, but what is it that is going inside, that turbulence that is inside? If that is understood, I mean, it's easy for a person from outside to see what's going on. Boys are still ignorant, and they need to be educated on importance of healthy menstrual cycle or life of a woman. They just don't need to know about, okay, this is period, this is how a woman will behave, women will be a little more different in these periods. That's not enough. They need to know how it affects them, how important collectively it is to deal with the situation. There's a long journey ahead of us to reach the comfortable level where we are talking about periods. No matter how much we claim that we are able to speak about it, but it's not such a bad thing. Only uh, it's like schools are making conversation, but they are still making the conversation among girls. We need to make it a conversation among everyone put together. It's not a girl only, conversation. We are here in 2020 where we need to move forward and be more progressive. And this stigmatized subject, which is all over the world taken in the similar aspect, there are other aspects which are still not touched, like period poverty is still not touched even, I believe. I guess that's it. We need to make conversation collectively, not stand alone with women separately, boys. You don't have to like educate them. Just make them the part of the system. And then you speak about it as if like it's a normal thing in your life. Then it'll be good. And more importantly for them, I believe for boys, we need to help them probably understand that how we feel. It's exactly the same way when there is a rage inside a boy. He is watching a football match, so everybody around has to understand that he will shout. So, same way, we also go through some changes in our lives, and that needs to be understood. I
Correct.
guess that's it.
I mean, I absolutely agree with you. I remember like when I just got my period and I used to hide my pads, like, in my sweater and take it to the washroom. And I always like, I was kind of like confused about the entire idea because I'm like, this is so normal. This has been going on. Periods are a thing that's been going on ever since women have existed. Why are we still hiding it? Why can't I take a pad normally? Why do I need to like, you know, come up with crazy ways to take it? So I absolutely agree with you on that. Um, the second question I want to ask you is about your company. So, were there any events or any things that you witnessed in your own personal life or perhaps in society that led you to, having these thoughts about actually coming up and founding a company like LiZZOM?
So it's not just one. I have also grown over a period of time. But yes, it started from my own struggle with UTI. And for some very close friends who were suffering, to the likes of even uterine cancer, which makes you think about it. What's that we are not doing right as women? I was convinced that there is something that we women are not doing right, and we have not done our due diligence before we have started using different menstrual management products. And this is where I started looking out for the best one available in the market. To my surprise, there was something with fragrance, something with a fantastic, beautiful print, and there was something which called 4 5 wings. And there was one with there's more gel to it. When I started reading about it, what does the gel do? What do these wings do? Do I need fragrance in my pad? Do I actually need a floral, beautiful butterfly print there? And then I found out that it's not serving my purpose. There were not enough of choices. There are choices about now. Today we all are living in a world where we eat, shop, and we do everything based on our choices, right? You and me, everybody. We even choose our own subjects, our own college. There was time when my mother, she told me, I want you to become doctor or an engineer. I think that is no more there. Maybe somewhere, but let's keep those exceptional cases aside. But now choices are an integral part of our life. But I found there was no choice available for me to switch one or two type of conventional sanitary pads, and what I needed was that comfort. What I needed was that, what am I putting so close to my body for so many days of my life? So many years I'll be doing the same process every single month. So what is it that I need to do, and why it is effective? And there were certain complaints from my friends, and I grew up accepting and internalizing that fact that these are a part of your life. But when I grew a little more smarter and more wiser after reading, I realized it doesn't have to be your choice. It doesn't have to be a regular part of your life. If you can find something better, or if you have something better, you will certainly do better. So this is how LiZZOM was formed. And again, the journey kept on going when you start reading. And one day I was shocked. A lady had written somewhere in Google. I don't remember where it was, but I remember that blue color sentence still. It says that the first sanitary napkin that was ever made 155 years earlier is still lying somewhere in the landfill. It's still not biodegraded. So I was like, oh, that means all those sanitary napkins which I have thrown are also lying somewhere. And as I speak with you, I have goosebumps on my body. Like, what am I doing? How am I as a woman contributing towards the sustainable world? And most of us now are living in that thought process that we need to contribute, we need to give back to the environment and society. We have taken so much. So as a woman, you, me, trust me, Suti, count how many of pads you have thrown if you're using pads, how many my mother would have thrown. So how we are contributing. And I was thinking, like, one fine day we all will be sitting on that garbage, on our own throne shit, and then we will complain about it. So what am I doing about it? Can I in any way be different? So I even contemplated that, let me do the reusable pads, but for some reason I wasn't able to. I do not fall in that league. If some women can fall, fantastic, but I thought that I cannot, with my schedules, with my lifestyle, with smaller houses. I cannot do wash and dry and all that stuff. For me, this was better, and hence I reached out and I realized that, okay, this is what it is. And in front of us there were choice. Okay, organic cotton without plastic, both of them combinations are good. Can there be something better than that? And we realized that no, cotton also is not a sustainable crop. And we reached to a level where we have this product now which uses bamboo and corn. Bamboo is completely sustainable. Corn, the straws that we throw away, that is what is being used to make the corn plastic. And this is how we came up with the product. Above everything else, that one thing that remained in my mind was, how can something be of so importance to me that's taking my, it just threw me off guard when I lost a friend of mine. And then I started thinking how I can do better for myself. And if I'm happy, then how I can spread the word to others. So since there was nothing available, the only solution that I could see was bring this to the region and let's see what happens.
I loved what you said about how we don't have to stick to things. If we're not okay with something, if some change has to be made in society, then even if no one else around us is doing it, then it's our duty ourselves to, make that change. And I think that's a strong message for everyone that's listening in today. Great. And another question regarding periods, of course. You've talked a lot about period poverty. Could you just tell our viewers what exactly period poverty is and how can we combat it, especially as young girls and boys?
So, um, see, one is about making change, and one is about being mindful of where you're living.
Mm-hmm.
So, there are so many stigmas attached to the word menstrual, not in your and my world, but if you look at Nepal, around 65% of women do not have access to these sanitary napkins.
Mm-hmm.
There it is considered that families over there, they consider that the girl who's menstruating or the woman who's menstruating is impure in their community, and they send her to a small hut during that period.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this story which caught my eyes sometime in 2017 it happened, but I read it later, that there was a girl who was inside a small that hut they put her into, and because she cannot afford sanitary products, so her periods could be seen, you can, because you have color all around your button, or maybe you are using something which is not that good, so they were using straws to as menstrual products or menstrual solution. So she was inside that hut, and it was wet weather, and somehow still that straw wet hut, it caught fire, and the girl died of the smoke inside.
Mm-hmm.
And not tell me as a woman, what am I supposed to understand from there? What is period purity? There are two aspects. One is that there are women who cannot afford it, and then we are so poor. We're so poor, we cannot understand that what are we putting real human beings into? What is that girl would have faced? We talk a lot about being progressive and other stuff, but when you hear these stories, I feel that we are still poor. And to my surprise, this I'm talking about Nepal, which is like a developing or less developed country. Talk about UK. Would you believe me when I say that girls in UK, 30 to 33% of girls do not have access to proper sanitary pads, and then they are using other things to for their menstrual management, or they're unable to go out of their house. That was again shocking for me. In US, it's happening. We are sitting in a blessed area, a blessed region, that is different besides the point. But where every individual has a certain means of earning money for themselves, for their livelihood, would they consider that menstrual management is lower in the priority?
Mm-hmm.
What we have not understood is that if women's menstrual health is not right, the next generation may not be the good generation that we are looking at. Right, there's several complications. I guess that this may not be the best platform to talk about those complications arising out of wrong menstrual pads, but then they are the things which will lead us to a poor future as well. Girls cannot afford it, they cannot go to school, they cannot do their chores, they're sitting in the corner of their home. That is poverty. And the other thing is that our mental poverty, where we are unable to listen and hear, and actually what is needed is, Tuti, is can we start really having conversation,
Mm-hmm.
not just talking about it, okay, it's a taboo.
Correct.
Real conversations where we can make some impact, some difference, some awareness, where our conversation can be so heard, not as if we are trying to prove ourselves, okay, we are stronger women, we need to talk about it, but as a general, genuine subject which touches your and my heart. And why you and me? Why not everybody else? Why
Absolutely.
not people around me? Why not my brother? Why not my father? Why not my son? Honestly, GMA, I have seen GEMS Modern Academy. I see that you guys are blessed in terms of what you're getting in education. I can say that because my son is graduated from your school, and he is completely involved in this project,
Wow.
like right from the idea till today. And
That's
it was very easy to make conversation with him. So I'm
mm.
assuming somewhere you guys are doing right.
We like to believe so too. So you talked a lot about how people don't, take periods as a priority and people still think it's taboo. So what are some of your thoughts on the stigmas that do surround periods and how can we overcome them and change as a society?
So the first step obviously is to normalize menstruation. Just destroy every taboo around the natural process. You mentioned it's a natural process, part of our life. It is simple. Women and girls have human rights and they have periods. They're all same things. One should not defeat the other. That's it. More platforms, we need to shed light on the topic. It's significant on our society overall and how we normalize it. Parents needs to focus on educating their kids, boys and girls together about the topic. Same way like you talk about your sex education. Same way you nowadays, children are starting their first drink with their parents. When they grow up 2021, whenever they are ready, it is for parents want to ensure that whatever they do with that comfort and ease, that they are growing up as normal people. Same way parents should be like very normal. A girl should not be taken into side and talked about it. It should be like, okay, it has happened today, okay, this is how we solve the problem, this is how you manage yourself. So that's how I feel that there will be a lot of respect in the community for each other, and we'll be able to look at the subject with more significance. And then obviously we need to also talk about how we can provide solutions, how period poverty. So LiZZOM as an entity, we thought that how we can not only educate, not only give a solution, how can we also be of help? So it starts from your home. Everything, charity starts from your home, right? So we embedded this structure in our system, in our sales system or in our marketing system, wherein we give away one piece of pad for a pack of pad that we sell from our platforms. Anytime you buy one pack of LiZZOM, you are actually helping one girl bleed with dignity somewhere for at least half a day or a day, whichever she chooses to. Depends on her. So I feel that drop by drop, we will be able to fill the ocean. Until today, we've been able to do splendid job. We have given away pads initially to some Bangladeshi girls who had come here for visit on charity by someone. Then we sent some to Africa. India, there's a lot of work going on. I think at your school level, there's. So yeah, each one of us can drop by drop help and contribute towards the whole thing. We need to think beyond our own personal interest. Like this is what interests me. We need to look at it as a general issue, or let's not call it even an issue. It's a general thing. It's a general right of every human being to breathe. So this should be taken like that. Let's find solutions. That's the best way to go ahead. I believe that social media has a huge role to play. I believe that it is something which can really bridge the gap. And we definitely at LiZZOM would want to do it more with physical presence. But if you're talking about how you can make impact, I feel this platform is fantastic. Go ahead, move ahead, involve more women and talk to them who don't know about it. Like for example, best solution for pads, they do not know. So when you ask question, what do you look into the pad, they would not know. I was surprised. For me, that time women told me that the selection is what is on the shelf, what is kept on a discount shelf. So they were buying it as if a piece of tissue paper, wherein you just wipe your face and throw it. But I tell them that you're going to keep it close to your body, from where there's an easy entrance to your whole system, gynecological system, and you're allowing and exposing that area. So they do not want to even hear it, because we have not seen it earlier, so we don't want to hear about it. Sometimes it feels like as if it is something we've not done right. But I think speaking about the subject with women who do not know about it, asking them questions so that it triggers a right kind of response in their whole system to respond it. More or less, mothers, they're very receptive about when I speak with them about this, about their teenage girls. They're very receptive. Unfortunately, they're not receptive about themselves. I've spent whole my life doing this. What's the need of doing it now? And mostly it sometimes comes to convenience of going and buying, sometimes to price. But I'm saying, forget everything. Think about yourself. What is your choice? What do you want for yourself? How do you want to live your rest of your life? Do you want something to trigger out of this wrong choice, or you want that at least you did the right thing? And on top of everything, let's not forget environment. Let's not forget environment. If you put on Google that sanitary pads, and landfills.
Mm.
There are so many memes, in fact, which have been done. I have seen some shoes made of tampons, some earrings made of tampons. So it's like, what are you doing to the whole world? What are you doing to the nature? How are you just throwing it away? And do you think when someone is sorting that waste, how easy it is for that person to sort menstrual waste?
Correct.
Something which we do not, when we take it out from our I mean, when we take it out, when we are wearing it and we take it out, we wash our hands twice. Someone has to sort it out. Instead of that, we need to find solutions that you have kept it somewhere, let the nature takes its own course, or there should be some way to do it instead of that thing just lying in. It's alarming to see what is happening in the world.
Absolutely.
Really alarming. But one step at a time. I think you and Ami are contributing. There are many other women who are contributing.
Absolutely. So you've obviously made so much profound positive change. So what's one piece of advice that you'd want to give anyone that's trying to make any kind of positive change in their community?
I will speak about general change here instead of just speaking about periods and menstrual because that is very close to my heart. I will go on and on. So, if you want to make any change, as I say, charity starts from your home. It definitely starts from your home. I have worked whole of my life as financial planner. So, the first thing when I started my job, I was made to understand that if you haven't sorted out your own finances, how do you advise someone else? So
Correct.
if I have not done it for myself, if I am not able to speak about the subject, if I am not able to buy the right subject for me, make the right choice, and if I am not giving away something to the person who is somewhere in need of my help, I'm a privileged one. I feel that God has given me little more than some other people in the world. So if I am not doing that, how can I expect that the person who's sitting next to me will do? And if everybody thinks that it will not matter much, I'm the only one who's not doing, the whole world might end up doing it. If I don't throw it correctly, if I don't use right product, if I throw everything wrong in the environment and same way everybody else is thinking same way, then it will not we will never be able to make any change. So one step at a time, let's start from our own homes. Let's start talking about ourselves. Everyone who is at GMA, if you can just pass on the message to the girls that this is our subject, pass on the message to the boys that it is our subject. We need to talk, we need to have right conversations around the subject. We need to move forward step by step. And I think I can see that a day is not too far away. We all will be able to make huge, 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 huge impact.
Absolutely. I'm so looking forward to that. And thank you so much for joining us today. It's been such a pleasure talking to you, and I'm so inspired by everything that you've said. And I'm sure anyone viewing this video will be. And I can't wait to team up with you in the future, like girl up, teaming up with LiZZOM, and perhaps doing something in the future that would be great.
That will be a blessing. That will be a blessing. Seriously, a blessing. People who believe in their cause, if they come together, I believe it's synergy. It's 1 + 1 11. It's never 1 + 1 2. So it will definitely be there. So we have plans to go and educate in other schools. Let's stay in touch for that.
Absolutely. Sure, we'll talk about that as well. Thank you so much for joining us today, and hopefully we get to keep meeting you again and again. Thank you, ma'am.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.